Are we living in a post-cinematic age? Hey, everybody. It's been a while since I did one of these. I think the last recording I did of myself like this was a couple of years ago. I haven't sat down and recorded anything like this in quite a while, and I kind of wasn't feeling it. Life was happening, and I just didn't want to gear up my older equipment and slap it together and get something going. But then at night, as my brain drifts off and I start to think about certain things and pulled certain threads together, I thought, oh, you know what, maybe we should, or I should get all that stuff out and record something, just to have it out. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So, I guess, where do we start with this? Part of me does feel lonely, in a way. Like, I have a family, I have a great family, thankfully, but a part of me still feels lonely in the sense that you try to do what you can and fight back against any sort of rising tides that are happening, I don't know, the world over, culturally, politically, economically, all that stuff, right? And you try to find your way. You do try to find your own solutions to immediate problems in your life. That's probably, as I've heard, probably the thing you can do, and how the microcosm affects the macrocosm and the vice versa, right? You try to get by, try to live your life. And I thought, okay, you know what, great. Let me record something, since I'll make the time and go ahead and do it. I don't know if this will actually remotely compete with the vast sea of podcast shows that are out there now. It was prominent when I was started recording some stuff, and when I was doing some stuff with Sean. Well, we still do it. I have to had to go back and play catch up with all the stuff that we've done. There is still one podcast that we've recorded that we haven't released, and hopefully it won't be the last one. But the past several months have been have been interesting, and I did meet with Sean and his great family a month or two ago during the summer. I'm recording this in August 23rd, and I guess I should make a list of things to talk about, but as it is, I'll try to speak extemporaneously about how fucking hard things are. But you know what? Whatever. It's life. You have to get things out. I guess I should circle back to the topic I had in mind about the end of cinema, the post-cinematic age, and how right now we're in the midst of a double threat strike. The WGA, Writers Guild of America, of course, and the Actors Guild. They're both striking. They're confreres and consorors in arms together, right? But again, as it's been pointed out by many people, it's like, shit, okay, well, everybody deserves to have their own needs met, but when your product is kind of crappy, what do you deserve, really? Yeah, it's when like, woke agenda is being peddled out every freaking where, like everywhere. And by the time if I ever get around to posting this, who knows if this will be an anachronism or if it'll be just like a controversial opinion. Because heaven forbid, if you speak out against if you can't criticize, then you're labeled basically well, you know what you get labeled as. You get labeled as a Nazi. You don't see, you're blind. You're a blind person. you're a histophobe, homophobe. The labels run thick and fast. And I guess I should bring up the topic of what is modernity and what is the contemporary life, right? I mean, basically, the way I understand, I guess, the so-called modern life philosophy is pretty much it's all built on stilts, really. It's like if it feels good to you, then it's probably correct and you should do it, right? That's basically this is what life is now. Yeah. Huh. That's something, isn't it? I I always felt like that was a good approach to take to life. I don't know if it's the correct one. I mean, it's better probably to I guess, I mean, you need a balance between your inhibitions and your inhibitions and allowing yourself to be who you are. That's not prohibitions. Uninhibitions. You need to be you need to express that freedom, right? And I know life over the recorded history, I guess, right, has been more or less a give and take between, okay, what is considered conservative as opposed to what is considered, quote unquote liberal, right? And when I was growing up, it almost felt elementary, right? It's that touch of youth, that perspective of youth, I suppose, that I'm guessing we all feel. That you'll read through the history book and everything seems so archaic and dull or whatever, right? But then something like today, for instance, where one argues that, oh, well, maybe things are moving way too fast in one direction over another, and then you suddenly you're inherited with the scope and the perspective and choices that every generation before you have had to make or have come to consider or even ignore or whatever, right? But the point of this is, for me, right now at least, is and it's an age-old question, right? What's true and good? What's true and what's good, right? Living your life totally uninhibited or maybe, regretting nothing. Je ne regrette rien. Is that the cosmopolitan, the appropriate way, quote unquote, of living life, right? Not a scope, not a speck of doubt or guilt or regret. Who really lives life that way? The ones who have the eternal sunshine of a spotless mind? Maybe. Is it best not to study history, not to read an interpretation of history, not to get a sense of a compendium of stories that you can refer to mentally and spiritually that will help you decide how to live your life? Or is it best just to, acquiesce all the time with whatever new standard comes out based upon politics or fashion or culture? But the thing of it is, though, if the theory that a lot of people are just basically non-playable characters or NPCs for short, and yeah, this is base, but pardon me, but I have to address this, then this is a moot point because they'll just go along to get along with whatever is happening. And then, again, based on that, what's really interesting? What's really interesting if you're programmed nothing? Whether the new thing is, whenever the new shiny box or data or application might be. Is that what life is? You can even call it life. And then can you imagine if, you're growing up, for instance, and you have a certain idea of what life should be and getting caught up in the exhilaration of being young and so forth, only to discover maybe if you ever hit your mid-30s or 40s or something, that, you know, the tide of youth has gone, but you pretty much have been unable to live the life that way you thought you would be, or you thought you could, and that life isn't what you thought it was? Where's that spinning compass now? Are these reflections of my own life? Sure. Yeah, that's something to put in here, I suppose. But I feel like it's true. I've heard other people talk about it, and I figured I'd add to this conversation. What's really real when you get older and you witness, something like philosophical or political changes that when they're assigned on the spectrum, let's say the left and the right, you're against one thing, but then over time you're, pro the other thing. And you couldn't even imagine that when you were younger, or vice versa, right? And is that a danger? Are we just being a problem to ourselves, or a solution, right? It's like, how do you hold on to what's true and good? Can you imagine not having the faculties to distinguish the possibility of what's true and good, right? If it's so important to be true and good, how you kind of need that in your life. But then again, it could be that you're living in a kind of dogma, right? And you're not quite sure what that is. You just hang your hat on what you think it is. Am I rambling? Sure. But I think it's also interesting points to note, because we need a perspective, and maybe our generation is a listless generation. I always tell my wife that for as liberal as quote unquote liberal as things are now, it's like the point of it is that we grew up in the '90s, and we saw enough shit at the time to make us be the people who we want to be today. In the sense that you can use so-called liberality to leverage political points and to get away with shit, basically. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. And the way, and basically what that wards off, like whenever somebody criticizes you for it, or receives criticism rather, it can be warded off by saying like, oh, well, you're too like backward, you're too conservative, you can be too, what do you call it? Too much of a those people that are against technology, quote unquote, right? Those sticks in the mud. What do you call them? I forget. I'm sure the term will come back to me. You're not being progressive enough, right? It's like these people are sitting on top of a tower, looking at a road, and they see the horizon, and they're staring down at us. You're not taking the right. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. People are assholes, man. Some people don't give a shit about you. Some people will lead you to war. Some people will lead you to war to a country that you're like all of a sudden is blessed with weaponry and a twinkle of an eye to be like, this is the last stand. This is the hill you have to die on now, or else it's all over. And they don't give a shit about you. They don't. They don't give a shit about your family. They make the excuse of being for the people, but who are the people really? Is this just another? Has this devolved into another conspiracy-minded podcast or blurb or whatever? It feels good talking again like this. Again, I haven't recorded in a few years, and I don't think this is going to be a long one. It's probably going to be maybe a half hour, something like that. I'll probably be on for maybe I haven't done for like 15 minutes or something. Don't know if this is going to be a regular thing or not, but I figured I'd record it. In regards to the post-cinematic age thing, it's like, okay, well, I know there's still good movies and good art out there, right? It really stimulates you and takes you out of yourself. But at the same time, there's also the notion that we have to cut through the bullshit. And when does art have to be sort of put aside respectfully to be like, okay, well, how does this, what I'm experiencing with it, in regards to, I guess in this case, cinema, for instance, how does this add up to like leading a good and true life, right? Right. You want to be respectful towards people, but at the same time, the one thing that I've noticed, even growing up in the '90s, is even today, is that it seems like if you're making a movie if you're of a certain political um, leaning, that only certain people are bad guys and only certain people are good guys. And the ones who have to fight are almost always endowed with this kind of, it's like propaganda straight up, are almost always endowed with a sense of blessedness and nobility. That you have to trust these people. These are the people that you have to root for in the movies, right? But you don't. You really have to stop and think about why you're doing it. This is really basic shit. I hate to say that, whenever I do talks, and I think about them, like I listen to other people, I'm like, shit, these people can go much farther than I do whenever I do these stupid things. I still have to feel like I have to pose or something for the microphone, and it's hard because it's like I kind of want to just cut loose and be myself. And I'm so different than when I'm doing this, as opposed to living, or even when I'm doing a thing with Sean, right? Sean is like hanging out and just two buddies talking, right? But with this, it's just me, right? And the affectation comes out, and I don't know if there's the ability to be me here, frankly. And I try to do it uninterruptedly, so that there's no editing and you get who I am. And it's like, I used to call this the Raw cast, and I think I got a lot of hits on that on YouTube because people thought I was talking about Monday Night Raw, which I clearly wasn't. But then I switched it over to Back on the Track, and I'm like, okay, that was a few years ago now. I don't think I'm going to stick with that name. You never know, though. But, yeah. I'm hungry. It's after dinner, but I'm hungry anyway. Yeah. I think today I realized earlier that I'm happy when I'm creative, but maybe I cannot give a shit about industry, like industries, like the film / entertainment industry, right? That's such a. I feel like that for me that straitjackets me. For me, it's just like I mean, I feel like I realize I'm happy just sort of being creative, and that's one reason I decided to just record this, because I feel like that's actually not a bad impetus, right? Because there's all these other caveats that come with doing anything, especially something creative, so especially artwork. And especially something like you want to upload online, like on YouTube or something, that you all of a sudden you have to jump through hoops for, right? And you have to classify it the right way, and it robs it of the vitality that it has. So, I guess in conclusion, for now, if you can call this a conclusion, is this a personal post-cinematic age for me? To some measure, maybe, because for the longest time I felt like I had to get in. I have to get in. That's what I am destined to do. I have to get in. I have to get in. I become like a masticating and masturbating maybe to the idea of trying to bypass a certain wall that's there, right? But then on hindsight, and I beat myself up over this to the point of it coming across as mental sadomasochism, right? That what has the trying to get into the industry ever done for you or for me, really? I mean, what does it matter? There you go. Oh, oh, I'm getting messages all of a sudden. Maybe it's the time to go. Anything else I should add? I think I should be. You know what? Fuck it. I think I should probably be posting more, just to be more open. I don't know if that helps any fucking algorithm or why would I want to help tech companies get more business by being who I am? And you should think about that. And a lot of people have. But it's also like, okay, they've parasited off, they leached off of individuality, as I guess good liberal companies do. I hate being liberal conservative, but it's like, hey, you notice these things. People point them out to you too. Maybe I hate going in that direction, but shit, I don't know. It's one of those things. Do you really want to sell your soul for free when you don't when you can live your life and you get the energy back from it just by you can get a return energy just by being yourself. And you know what? If you're anything like me, it's hard to be yourself. It's hard that you learn. It's almost something you have to learn over time. Isn't that weird? Right? It's like when you're growing up, there's all, like, again, with the caveats, there's all these different, obstacles that you run into, right? But then there comes a point where I'm like, okay, but who am I really, right? And that's a question I obsess with over time, like, all the time as well. And you want to, separate. There's a sense of like, really like the sense of falseness as opposed to like, oh, I'm just saying this just to say this, as opposed to me being like, oh no, this is kind of like really, really me. And I always have trouble with that when regards to like, meeting other people or I don't know, especially at work or career stuff, because it's like you want to, you're there for money, you're there for a job, you're there for a position, right? You're there for benefits, but at the same time, it's like I'm not being me and I'm feeding the machine, and that's wrong. You see, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be anyone else but me, because I feel like being anyone else but me doesn't help anybody. So you have to be yourself, and that's a hard journey to take. Especially when I had to say it. I mean, if you grew up in a society where, and that's anywhere, I guess, where they try to condition you into being certain things or adapting or you get inculcated into certain cultures that drive you away from who you may really be, regardless of sexual identity or personality or whatever, right? It's hard to live. And on that note, I can totally relate to that, right? But at the same time, it's like, how do you suss out if there's any, when it becomes political? How do you suss out there's no other agenda behind it when there may very well be? And I mean, looking at the history again, it's like the reason why there are checks and balances in government is because the people who created the government here, at least in the United States, they know that people are fucking tricky assholes. Power can corrupt. So what's true and good power? Is it just living your life and just being left alone? Just live your life. Don't hurt anybody. Respect people and just, live your life and just don't mess around and just be left alone and respect people, and that's it. All right. I think that's that. I don't know what this is, but I figured, okay, you know what? This is a good recording. See you guys out there. Au revoir.